Hey guys, this is a follow-up video to a video I did earlier which shows the detailed components of my Dengfu e10 build with the details that a gentleman named Matt had presented of his Dengfu bike build on a Facebook group. What follows is a recording of a discussion that he and I had where we go into more details about why we selected the items that we selected for our bikes and compare and contrast some of the different items and their cost points. So let's get into it. So Matt, thank you for being on the call today. I guess, I'd like to start, if you don't mind, with this slide, and it just shows the reconciliation of some of the major components between my build and your build. And overall with your build, I just wanted to ask you, are you satisfied with your build? Are you happy with how it turned out? Could you give us a feel for that?
Sure. Yeah. I'm super happy. Nearly every component on the bike, I have a lot of years of experience with. All the Hope products I've been riding for 10 plus years. Magic Mary tires I've been riding a decade. There's a few new parts that I wanted to try.
Okay, good. Was there anything that you wanted to do to the bike that you didn't do or couldn't do for some reason?
No, this is pretty much a cost is no object. Everything I wanted to put on the bike is on the bike.
How did you come up with the numbers? I think you were explaining to me at one point,
yes,
the retail versus what you paid and
yes,
what's on here.
Through the relationships I've made over my 32 years of riding and racing mountain bikes, I don't have to pay retail, which is great. So somebody asked me about my build, like how much was the build on the Dengfu owners group. So I had to go and figure out all the retail prices, and that was the full retail price. Yeah, $8,472. But in actuality, I probably have $4,000-ish in my build. So
comment on some of these components that you have in your bike and why you chose those and what you were looking for here in your wheels.
Sure. Yeah. I've been running Hope products for a long time. Hope hubs exclusively for years. Since I get Hope products for cheap or free, I went with the Hope Pro 5s, which are really nice. Stainless steel driver body, since we have e-bikes, they'll hold up to more abuse than the alloy driver body. And then the Nexty rims, I've been running those since 2014. So 10 years I've been running the Nexty rims. So I've been running Nexties for years. I love them. I've been tubeless ever since that became a thing. I do run inserts in my bike. I run they're called Minesweepers, and they're out of Nevada, out of Las Vegas, actually, Bootleg Canyon, Boulder City, Nevada.
Could you go through and tell, what do you like about the SRAM X01, and why did you select that for your bike, and what were you trying to accomplish with getting that?
Yeah, so I got SRAM X01 Axis in 2018 when I got my first e-bike, and I kind of got it as a joke. I was like, electric bike, electric shifting, that'll be funny. And I was just very impressed with it. It shifts good. A monkey can adjust it. Like if it gets out of adjustment, there's a tiny little button on your shifter. You hold it down and you can make micro adjustments up or down. Like every single gear you can micro adjust. I think it's 30 detents, which is insane. So you can really, I don't really work on bikes, even though I have a bike shop in my garage, and I can adjust it. And I'm a terrible bike mechanic. So I really liked it. Been riding it for years. It's lightweight, which is fine, whatever. But the performance really impressed me. What's funny is you went 9-speed. Again, I tell all my friends that build e-bikes, I'm like, go 9-speed. Because again, you're shifting way too much with a 12-speed. I did it because I liked it. I had it. I put it on this bike. But yeah, 9-speed's really the way to go on an e-bike.
Now with the with the chain and the going wireless, is there anything on those that is worthy of discussing? Obviously,
okay,
much better chain.
Right. I'm running. I run SRAM chains exclusively. Even when I ran Shimano XTR, I did run Shimano XTR when it first came out, the newest XTR. I ran that in 2020 for a couple weeks. Didn't love it. Sold it, and this was during the pandemic. So I sold it for more than retail because there was no product available during the pandemic, and went back to Axis. And I like the wireless. I hate internal cable routing. I just hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
I hate it. So not having any cable is fantastic. And if you travel with your bike at all, you can just unbolt the derailleur and just lay it next to your bike without it, getting ripped off, and not worrying about the cable stretching or anything. It's easy to travel with. And if you have a problem, I mean, you literally just unbolt the derailleur, break the link in your chain, and take it off.
I feel like my brakes work pretty good, but
right.
But obviously yours work better. So, can you give me some perspective on why you went there and what you really like about those?
Yeah, for sure. I've been running the Tech 4 V4s on downhill bikes 10 years, since 2014. And the biggest difference is the V4 rotor is actually two rotors with a 1.1 millimeter gap between them, and they're finned and vented, just like a car rotor or a motorcycle rotor. So one side gets hot, and then air runs through the middle to cool them off. And even in the picture you can see, it's not a great looking lever. Like, I hate the actual lever blade, the way it looks, but it is truly one finger. It is just one finger, all the braking power you need. And the modulation is spectacular. You can ride the steepest trail, come to a dead stop without ever skidding. Like, the modulation is really where those brakes shine.
And you talked about modulation. So, most people, I think, try to get some better modulation between the front and the back brake by running a smaller rotor. Do you have a bigger rotor in the front and a smaller rotor in the back, or do you have the same?
No, I run 203s front and rear.
Can you go in and explain a little bit more about why you chose the Vivid Air?
I just went with the Vivid. I had watched all the online reviews, Lone Wolf, Lone Ranger, Vital, MTBR, GMBN, and everybody raved about it, how the small bump compliance felt like a coil, but in an air shock package. So, with this build, like I said, I wanted to try a few new things. I built it with things I had been riding for years, but I wanted to try some new stuff. And this is one of the things I wanted to try. And like I said, I only have one ride on it, but I was very impressed. So far, so good.
You got a top of the line 12-speed, can you explain a little bit about why you went this way, what you like about it, why somebody should consider doing this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess I would run it for cost, because like I said, it's as light as a SRAM XX, but that's $500. You can find them on sale for $450, and full retail on the Garbaruk was $287, which blew my mind. I thought it was going to be a $500 cassette. So when I looked them up, and again, I bought my first Garbaruk cassette years ago as an experiment to see what the wear was like, and they're beautiful cassettes. They're just like the SRAM, one machined piece of steel with the biggest ring, the biggest cog, bolted onto the back in machined aluminum and anodized any color. I have one green, one orange, and then the lock ring is matching. So whatever color cassette you get, purple, blue, red, green, orange, it comes with a matching lock ring. And I mean, for the money, it is expensive. 287 is not inexpensive, but compared to 500, it's inexpensive. Yeah. And I was so amazed by the performance. Again, I thought it was going to wear quick. It was a little experiment. Like, let's see how fast I can trash this cassette. And I'm still on it. Three years later, on an e-bike exclusively. I've never had it on an analog bike. So very, very impressed by it.
If you don't mind, could you talk a little bit about why you went with the Hope stem and the one-up bar, and why you chose titanium bolts throughout your bike?
Sure. So the bar, like I said earlier, the one-up bar has got a little ovalized section right outside the stem where it takes out the low harmonic vibrations, really relieves the stress on your hands, forearms, elbows. Kind of cool. The Hope stem, again, I've had a relationship with them for years. So I'm, a little bit of bling, silver stem, orange faceplates. And as far as the titanium bolts go, I built my first weight weenie bike in 1998 and did all titanium bolts, just because they're lighter. They weigh half as much as steel. But then the corrosion resistance, titanium doesn't rust.
So, Matt, there was just sort of a catch-all, and I'm just going to go down the list here and come back on some of these, but everything else on the bike, mine was about 3,500, yours was about 4,100.
Yeah, yeah, $100, yeah, for a 1,000 watt-hour battery, and the motor's 130 newton meters of torque, which is insane.
On the fork, I went with a Lyric fork, and I have the Sakis air chamber on that. Did you consider the Sakis instead of the Runt?
I had never even heard of it until I saw yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did consider the True Tune.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw good reviews on that and everything. I have a Rock Shop Zeb Select, not even a Select Plus. It's a Select. It's the cheapest Zeb they offer, 180 millimeters. And I put a Diaz Suspension Designs Runt cartridge in the left leg, which has 2 air chambers. It's got a high and a low. And in the low chamber, you put whatever your recommended pressure is, say it's 60 PSI, you put 60 PSI in the low pressure chamber, and then you double it in the high pressure chamber, so 120. And that Runt is a really cool piece of technology. You just unscrew your left cap, take out your tokens, screw it in, air it up to its recommended settings, and it feels like a coil fork off of the initial stroke, but then it ramps up like an air fork to resist bottoming on big drops and jumps. And I only had one ride on it before I had hernia surgery, but it rides really, really nice. I'm very impressed. One thing that I forgot to mention about my fork is the Zebs notoriously from the factory have misaligned bushings.
Yes.
And so I'm friends with Evan Steinberg, who's Evan's MTB Saga on YouTube. Yeah. And he did a video where he had a Zeb, his Zeb Ultimate. He took it all apart, took all the guts out, and then had his fork upside down, held the steer tube, dropped his sliders onto his stanchions, and they indexed. So he got this $250 bushing tool, realigned the bushings, dropped it on there, and it just thunk. Like, it was crazy how misaligned they were from the factory, which again gave him real nice suppleness off the initial stroke. So I got my Zeb brand new in a box. I have friends, I have a house in Arkansas, but I had friends going up there before I was going to go back there next. So I sent my Zeb brand new in the box to Evan. He sent me a before video of it indexing down, did the service, new video, dropped straight down, and so before I had ever even ridden that fork, cut the steer tube or anything, it had a 0-hour service done to it. So, that could be one reason why it works, maybe better than some other Zebs is, they notoriously have that problem.
Yeah.
Jockey wheels, chain rings, stuff like that. It's all Hope stuff, because I have a relationship with them. So that was easy to do. And again, the dropper got that because it was a limited edition. And then the pedals, I'm actually testing those. It's a 8-degree pedals. They have Facebook, Instagram, website. They're the only platform pedal in existence that has float. Like every clipless pedal has 6 to 20 degrees of float, depending on which pedal you have, which, your foot doesn't have to be perfectly placed. You can still stay, on the pedal without being perfectly placed, which most platform pedals, to adjust your foot, you have to pick it up, put it back down. But with the 8-degree, you don't have to be perfectly placed and still be on the pedal in the right spot.
Sorry about the abrupt end to the video. I want to thank Matt for the time and effort he spent to participate in the discussion, and I also want to thank him for his willingness to discuss the details of his build. I hope I've given you guys something to think about, and I will see you at the top.